Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Amused Jester. My name is Junior. Today we're going to review another Transformers. As you know, I'm really bad reviewing Transformers because I really don't do a good job of transforming them. Usually, in the very beginning of my reviews, I always tell, go to MGO316. He is much better in terms of transforming and reviews. Um, Prime versus Prime is also good as well. Very nice instructions. TM reviews and deluxe battle. Those are my four main go-to YouTubers that I fully support. They do a very excellent job. This is more of an opinion, my personal opinion on the matter, and I only do some Transformers, the ones that I really like. I haven't opened this, right? But Silverbolt, the leader of the aerial bots, particularly Superion, this is kind of like a very strong connection to me in my childhood because I've said it before. Um, um, I can't remember, Skydive or one of the aerial bots was my very first Transformer that I bought with my own money that I saved up for. And when I was maybe, I don't know, 11 or 12 years old, and I went to the popular shopping centers over in the Philippines and I bought it on my own. I think it was Skydive. I can't remember the name now. I'm getting old. Anyway, let me go ahead and open it up and let's see what's going on with Silverbolt. All right, so there's Silverbolt out of the box as you saw me unpack it. Here is the instruction booklet, and I'll never be able to read this as it is. I cheat. I look at MGO316 or Prime versus Prime, like I said, who does a very excellent job of doing this, and that's how I do it. Now, Silverbolt is $89. $89, while the rest of the aerial bots are usually around $24 or so. And I initially balked at paying $89 for one um, Transformer toy, especially if it's just from Hasbro mainline. But seeing this now and knowing what's in here, which is basically the entire skeletal structure or infrastructure of the bot itself, which is this one, Superion. This is the one that you're really paying for. Yes, maybe this is $35 and then you think of this one as 50 because this is hefty, solid. It's a block of transformable bot. All right, so let me put this aside for now and let's try and see what we can do in terms of reviewing this. So this, I think, is his main gun for Superion. Right, so you can fold that out like so. You can fold this in like so. I have not looked in depth to the reviews on this one in the transformation, so I have no idea how to transform this. I've seen the reviews on it and I've seen what components go into it and what to expect, so I can kind of make some sort of judgment. And I think this is Silverbolt's actual gun over here. Some hollowness. There's no paint application whatsoever on the toys. This is Silverbolt, as you saw me take him out of the box. Here's the bottom of Silverbolt, and I believe this should open, yeah, so that we can pull out the nose cone. Yep. And now we finish off Silverbolt over here. Now, this is kind of about the same size as the old Silverbolt. Oh, and I forgot this part. Okay, that makes it a little bit better looking. I have not played with the original Silverbolt for the longest time. It's probably around this size too. And I do remember the original Silverbolt did have this massive thing in the middle. This one seems more truncated. The other one I think used to be a little bit more farther down. For the Concord look, you can put the nose cone down like that. It's good. It's fine. It's nothing revolutionary as we've seen in some of the Hasbro's combiner. in terms of vehicle mode, it does the job. So I'm kind of happy with it. But it's not too revolutionary. So out of the $89, I would probably assign a $45, maybe a $40 value in this one, and then the other one, the 50 for the big one. So let me see. Let me try to learn how to um, transform this. All right, so I was gonna say, I forgot. Oh, so I had originally canceled this one. I pre-ordered it, and I was scrambling. I was able to pre-order it from GameStop, but I learned from Toy Habits that when Toy Habits was talking about Michael had gotten it earlier. I went back on Amazon, and Amazon had it on hand for $89, the same price. So I switched my order into Amazon and everything. But yeah, so Amgo doesn't have the review up on this one. Thankfully, Prime versus Prime does have it. So we're going with his transformation. I looked a little bit and see how far I should take it, and then so I'm basically following Prime versus Prime's transformation video on this one. I'll put this up for now, and then there's like a double hinge here, I suppose, from what he said. So I'm gonna do it like that, and then double hinge it up. Oh, wait, where? Come on, how did he do that? There you go. There you go. So I think that's supposed to look like that. And then we're gonna put this up now and separate it from the head. There's a double hinge here, I guess, too. Like this whole section over here. That's an entire hinge socket or a hinge thing. It allows you to move this like this. And I think these tabs here will tab into that slot over there. Getting some sort of resistance somewhere. So kind of having to force it into position, and now it's slotted in. And then from what he said is I can just separate this legs here. Look at that. So the arms are actually like that. That's interesting. And I'm gonna twist it like this at the thigh. Oh, yeah, I did that backwards. I'm assuming this is the back part because that looks like the thing there. And then this looks like what's gonna be the feet. This part I'm guessing because I don't wanna pause it again. And this looks like the hands of Silverbolt. Oh, and now the chest seems to be separating. Oh, interesting. I wonder. So we'll put this out. Let me pause this really quickly and look at how Prime versus Prime is doing it. Alright, so I was definitely jumping around way too much, skipping a lot of stuff. But after once you start removing the legs, it becomes really easy. So one of the things I missed was there's a heel spur right here in the bottom for stability for Silverbolt. It's kind of a big heel spur though. Look at that. So this whole underside of the foot or the heel becomes like the heel. And then we saw that this one started to come out when I was messing around with the hands. Look at this one. So this whole thing hinges out and forms the side of Silverbolt like that. Look at that. That's kind of interesting how they thought of doing that. Again, I'm just gonna push it up so I can grab it from the side here. So this is the side of Silverbolt. You notice it's got this tab here, which will probably tab here. Okay, so let me see. Oh, before I do that, then the head apparently can now go inside, and from what he said was it will tab into something, but I don't know where. So I'm just gonna push it down and see what happens. So I'm there. I got some resistance. I just pushed it down completely and it went in. And I'm hoping that these two horns for Superion's head goes into these little side spots, I'm assuming, while at the same time trying to get these tabs into this one. So let's do that carefully. Okay, so I think it did it. It just seems to kind of go in there. That will secure the sides from collapsing in again, those two tabs. And now we just basically turn Silverbolt's head, and the hands kind of just come from there. And I think that's pretty much it for his transformation, but let me clarify with Prime versus Prime and see. So yeah, apparently that's basically it for Silverbolt. So first impression, it's like I'm kind of comparing this in my mind with the original Silverbolt, which I remember having like very kind of squattish looking legs because it went out this way. This proportionally, this doesn't look bad. Um, he just looks kind of squat to me, and somewhat small compared to his. Well, I guess not. This is shoot. I can't remember his name. This is my favorite one too. This is the one I was referring to as the one that I bought all those many decades ago. But I'm just getting kind of old. Actually, I guess maybe the head could be a little bit better, but the head sculpt is actually pretty good too. It's just maybe the head could be slightly bigger. Um, Articulation wise, you get a little bit up, a little bit down, side to side. Goes all around the shoulder, stopped by the wing that you can push to the back over here if you want. Off to the side, not a problem. Bicep cut. You have the elbow joint, which goes slightly below, slightly above 90. The hand doesn't have any twists. It's basically static, unless you count this one as an up and down thing. But that's mostly, I don't. It's mostly transformation. This is the only waffle here on this side. A lot of waffling here, or empty spaces in the bottom, which I suppose I'm getting used to, kind of okay with it now because it's a robot anyway. Who knows? It's just supposed to be hollow. One impressive thing about this is that this thing moves up, so it frees you in movement for the thigh. It's got a soft ratchet. You guys hear that? That's pretty cool. It's got a thigh cut, so it moves that, but it does show this waffle over there. Again, that's fine. The only thing is, like, sometimes this, if it's not manufactured correctly, might end up popping that eventually, but it's not happening to me right now. For the knee, it's got a double a double knee joint. Look at that. So you can actually do that, of course, because remember the transformation. That's pretty cool. And even though this is hollow here, it's not so egregious to me. I can forget that. And then of course we have a complete up on the ankle because of transformation. Nothing in the back, and thank God, at least it's got an ankle pivot. Okay, so that's pretty good in terms of transformation or articulation, I think. So with Silverbolt, it's usually like this that I remember him, but it's kind of nice if you want to clean him up from the front, you can do that. and that doesn't look that bad to me in the back. Yes, this is a lot of Ghibli and everything. Now, Prime versus Prime did something where he was able to pop this off, but he didn't really show how he did it. And I would hesitate to experiment on doing that on my own. Oh, I think maybe it's this one right here. See? Again, it's got that mushroom peg that I showed on the thigh, which I'm assuming you can kind of slit, yeah, you can slit it around like that. If you want to clean them up a little bit, that's up to you guys if you want to do that. I did it just to show you guys. I don't recommend it because the more you keep removing this out off, the bigger the chance you're gonna loosen this whole connection up, and it will just give you a lot more of a grief rather than making it look clean. This is fine. This is, I mean, like, this looks fine for me as it is. Yes, he's got a big backpack, you know. What can you do? But honestly, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be displaying this as Superion anyway, with the nice option of being able to play with them individually. It seems like I popped off the connection, so it connects to that tab and connects on this one too to make it more secure. And that's it for Silverbolt. Okay, so like I said, I'm splitting the cost of the $90 as $40 for this one and $50 for this one. Honestly, I could even say this is worth $35 and this is worth $45 or $55. This whole thing over here. So these were $24 each. I would assign from the $90 total cost to $35 on this one. Yeah, that sounds about right. And now let's go on to this big brick over here. Alright, so forgive me if this becomes herky-jerky, but I'm completely unfamiliar with how this thing works. From what I'm seeing is that this is mostly a parts forming thing. So I think, if I remember these tabs, we're gonna untab this one to allow that to go up, which basically gives us access to this. And this tab to that, this tab to that basically secures this part right here, and also with that. We put that aside, and this is the main body of Superion. So I think we bring this down, and actually this is the front, so we want to bring this down. You can hear the rat shit in this one, right? Oh, by the way, I got that wrong. Let's see, because this should not be there. Look at that. Can you hear that ratchet? That's pretty cool. Let me lift the skirt here. I think I'm doing it incorrectly. Oh, okay. Maybe. Alright, so like it seems like you put that up like so, and then this, and then why am I getting confused in this thing? Okay. That was better. Okay, so that's the main body for Superion. And then this is basically the connecting port, so you want to make sure you put that in the back. Like so. Now you're going to push this aside, and then you bring this part up, which I think separates like so. But that's not it. This also separates somehow. We're going to concentrate on this one half over here. I think this is going to separate, but I don't know how it did that. Oh, oops, yeah, so it was this, and this was the one that was unplugging it. So while I separate that, I'll show it to you again on this side. So there's a connection here and a connection there that you're just gonna have to, there, it was easier in that side, so that's kind of good. So now this is the leg. It was like that, and we're gonna tab this into that, and then this is the combiner port, I suppose. Bring that up, and then this is probably the heel, and these two tabs will just click into that. So I'll put that aside. So this is the other part that came with that one. So this is basically the hand over here. We can look at the hand now too, which is just one solid piece of plastic, which is kind of disappointing. Now, as you can see, again, there's that mushroom peg here. So I guess the new a third party could develop something where they can just slid this out, look at that, and then completely replace this with a more articulated hand. So I guess it's kind of nice to have these exposed mushroom pegs for third-party vendors. So push that aside there, and then we're gonna open that up to fully extend the arm, and then does this peg into that? It does, much more securely. And then this is the shoulder part, which is I'm pretty sure Prime versus Prime said the same thing, where you extend it and like that. Yeah, and that's the arm. So let me do it on the other side too. That, this up like so, this up like so, and put this out and combine it to that. Again, the arm goes out, break it there, extend like so, attach it there, that, do the same thing here and there. Now this part right here is that's why we switched it over to put that in the back, and this basically just slides in. Oh, look at that. As you push it down some more, then this part goes down on a spring to secure it. But is it secure good enough? It is. I can't pull it out until I push this up. Good. So again, we do it on this side. Notice that when I'm pushing it, it'll push this thing up automatically. And then it goes down again. Nice. Ratchet's very strong. It's very light and everything. Okay, now let me push this aside. We'll deal with this later on, because now we're going back to Silverbolt, and in order to attach him to that, it's basically gonna be as if we're retransforming him into his plane mode, if I remember correctly on how to do it. So we'll just bring this out here, twist the head first, bring out the head of Superion, which is a little bit more tricky here than, oops, look, his antenna came off. It's tricky because there's nothing to grab onto. So let me just put back his antenna. Okay, now we can bring this down again, and trying to remember how this thing is done. Put him up like so. Collapse this inwards, and I think it goes on like, oh, let me put the hand in. This is just by memory now, so I think it goes correctly like this. And then we push this back in again and secure it here. And then Oh, let me release that again, because this peg, this really small peg in the superior's head has to tap into here to secure it, so it's not moving around too much. It's hard to properly secure it. Because it's enough fight there. It's not a problem putting these two in. It's the problem is like putting these two in and still trying to tab Superion's see, it's coming off. Maybe I'm doing something, I did something wrong with the transformation. See, I can get this 2 tab in, but they're very, very shallow. But then see, I missed the middle part. Anyway, so let me close the heel spur here, put this up. Like I said, you're basically transforming it back to its plane mode. And twist it off to the side here. And remember, we're gonna put this in here. So when you bend the knee, bend on the top. Yeah, at the top part, as you can see, and then you can slide this in here. I'm still struggling. Let me fix that again. I'm still struggling with this part because it's just too shy. It goes in like that. This is the problem, though. It's like, I don't know if you would consider that secure enough. I suppose it is. Sure doesn't look like it, though. Okay, I got it down. I just didn't press it. Let me show that. So it's actually this tab over here in Superion's. You can see it, right? I thought it was gonna tab into this one. It was too shallow. It's actually gonna tab into this bottom one. That's why it wasn't going in. My mistake. Okay, now it's secure. We'll twist Superion's head like that. And as I said, everything's secure now, and it's best to kind of slowly put it in and then work this in like so. Tab it into that one. Now that's secure. So this was my mistake in retransforming it. Make sure the leg is from the top, not from the bottom. And once it's already swinging there, then just finagle it so you're doing it at an angle. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this guy is now fully transformed and ready. Oh, by the way, this is supposed to loosen this up here for now, and then this one loosen it up for now as well too. All right, so now we're ready to attach the body into Superion's. Apparently there's 4 points of connection. These two will go into these 2 sockets like so. The second one is this, 2 is gonna go into these two over here, like so. Looks like I got the back kind of loose. Okay, the next one is this one in the back. Kind of hard to see here. It's gonna close in. There is a plug hole in the back. Make sure that's nice and secure. And then finally, this part over here, you can't see it, but there is something in there that's supposed to secure into. Okay, like that. I can't show it. You'll have to, like, you can see it. Okay, so you push this in here, and then there's this niche over here that goes into that, and that'll secure that. And that's it. That's the 4 points of secure. And then you just push this down again, secure it in the back of Superion, and that's how you secure. And that is freaking solidly put in there. And then the arm, which are now backwards, I guess you just push it down. Yeah, and that's it. That's Superion. Like $89 for this whole thing. That is not a bad price. You literally can just do Superion just like this, and haven't displayed him without the other aerial bots. I know it looks wonky, but yeah. So articulation on Superion, move like that, a little bit up, actually nothing up, a little bit down. For the shoulder, you got a soft ratchet up and down. You got another stronger ratchet going sideways from here. And then, as it doesn't have any bicep cut, but it has more of an elbow here. So the elbow has a single bend that gives you 90, but it's got a rotation at the elbow as well. No ratchet on the outside, ratchet up and down on the elbow. And then of course the wrist, we saw that it can go sideways, but that's basically it. It can move in but not out. For the waist, does have a waist but no ratchet. If you want, you can do a slight bend forward, or an extremely bend forward like that, if you were to untab the connection, because you're still connected through him through the front plate. But I think technically it's not supposed to have it, because look at all the stuff I'm untabbing just so I can connect him. But you can have it if you want to. Of course, you're kind of limited on the sideways because the back's gonna start hitting. This part is gonna start hitting the back. And then we already saw that the side skirts, the front skirts can go up. So you have this, a very, very soft ratchet on the hips, stronger on the outside, a thigh cut, which is excellent. We already checked out the knee bend here. I didn't realize there's another bend here that you can do, so you can technically call it a double knee bend. It does have an ankle rocker, but nothing up and down on the ankle. This is really quite impressive for a $90 toy, I think. And of course, this one will close in. It's got a spring gimmick to it. So let me see if I can transform the other two aerial bots. I think one is the arm and one's the legs. So I've split slingshot separately. I basically transformed him like so. In order to split him properly, you really need something to use to press on this white spot, and when you're pressing that down, it will release the connection. Combining him with Superion is pretty easy. As you can see, it's got these two tabs that will fit into these two slots over here. That's nice. And then the same thing, it's got these two holes over here, here, and that will plug into that one. Okay, secure over so. And then this one, as you can see, it's got this here and this one that will connect to this one, this, and this. I don't know if I'm supposed to lower the head in this one or not. So it seems like as you're pressing it, connecting this robot in here, it will automatically push this close. It's kind of awkward because you're kind of having to push things in, but as you can see, it basically closed this in there. And it's pretty tight in there, so it's pretty secure. But as you can see, as I'm currently bending the knee, so it's all these things in the back are kind of like being pushed out. So the arm, I don't really mind that it's splitting here. Slingshot, aesthetically, I'm okay with it because it retains a lot of the articulation, which is what I wanted anyway. So I'm okay with that. And then this part over here is somewhat awkward because this is spring loaded and you're pressing it in, but it seems to be doing okay. Just kind of looks hollow in the front. And then of course that's how it looks in the back. Let me change camera angle. So there he is alongside Menasor. I don't know if I put Skydive, I think is his name, on the right leg. I'm just gonna do it right like that for now. Proportion wise, as Superion, he looks excellent. Of course, the kibble on the slingshot arm is kind of big, but not too egregious. I think it's fine the way it is. I mean, I'm looking at it, I'm very, very happy with how it looks. The same thing with Superior. Of course, my initial impression with Menasor back then was I wish it had been a little bit bigger. I kind of got spoiled with the original Devastator that Combiner Wars did. I really wish it had been that size, but for what it is right now, it looks pretty good as it is. I'm very, very happy with it. Now, there are two other combinations with Silverbolt, wherein there's a base mode I didn't show you because it seems like it's not really a base mode, more like, oh, you look, you can do this with this and all that stuff, and it doesn't. I don't consider it as a base mode, right? Now there's another part of the combination where that whole piece that transforms into this one, to this that whole piece that is the base mode thing, can be attached to Silverbolt to make him a lot more like a mega Silverbolt, which I feel like, again, it's a better option than the supposed base mode, but at the same time, I think I'm gonna leave it off. It's not how I plan on displaying him. I don't look, if I had the money, maybe I would have bought 3 sets, one for Superior mode, the second one for the robot mode, and then the third one for the plane mode, and that will be the only way I would even consider attaching that huge base into Silverbolt. Any other reason than that, there's really no reason to display it in that way. As I've said earlier, I do plan on displaying these two as it is, as they are now in combiner mode. But at the same time, it's nice to have the option of, if I want to, I can pull them apart and just play them as robots or even as vehicles. In terms of these weapons, there's got to be a way that they're supposed to attach. As you can see, there's like all these bits and pieces that seems to indicate that there should be something in here. Like there should be a way to combine these, but I still haven't seen anything that indicates them to be combined into this one big slot, so I can't really show you that. But anyway, this is the review for Silverbolt, right? Not for Superion, and the price for this one was $90. And for $90 for what you're getting, it's a very solid piece. It's a very solid piece with very nice ratchets and everything, and the additional aerial bots just basically completes it, you know. I mean, like, I don't even know. There is a lot of kibble here for the legs, but I'm not going to be looking at it from this side view, and this is still pretty okay for me. This is the money shot right here. It's just, that's perfect right there. For $90, it's well worth it. Value, price being 10 equal to $90 value. The base mode, no. The base mode plus Silverbolt, no. Silverbolt looks good, but this is where the value goes up to 12 and everything, because it's very well built, very well designed, has a lot of ratchets, and it's very solid looking. And I don't mind the fact that, yes, there is that base mode to complete the Superion mode, and it's no longer relying to just the 5 figures to combine the whole thing like it was in the older days. I feel like the additional base mode parts forming with the main torso is a very, very good solution, because this looks so much better than the original. It really, really does. So I'm okay with this one. And that's it for my review for technically Silverbolt, with his base mode that eventually ends up being Superion. For that part alone, I believe the value is high at 12. But then we'll do a final review with all the attachment, all the aerial bots combined, because then you have 90, 25, 25, 25, 25, so you're ending up with around 190. So this whole thing, once it's combined, it's $200, and that might change. That might change in terms of value. But that's it for my review of Silverbolt from Hasbro. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you guys on my next review. Bye.